Last year alone, 1.2 million people became millionaires, the biggest wealth creation in history. But here's the problem. Most of them are still managing money like they've only got $75,000 stashed in a 401k. And that mindset could be the difference between retiring at 45 or grinding it out until 65. I'm Christopher Nelson, and I've seen this pattern over and over again. When high earners come from families that either had very little money or managed what they had poorly, those deeply ingrained financial behaviors don't just disappear when you hit your first million. These high achievers have mastered complex systems in their careers, but when it comes to their own wealth, they're still using the same scarcity-based thinking their parents used with a $50,000 household income. The result, they're applying small money strategies to big money problems, and it's costing them even bigger. Last year, I met with David, a principal engineer whose company had just gone public. He was sitting on $5 million in net worth, but $3.5 million of it was in his company stock because he believed in the company. 3 months later, the stock dropped 30%. So in a single quarter, he watched $1 million of his net worth disappear. What he told me next is all too common. He said, I would never build a system with a single point of failure this catastrophic, but somehow I thought it was different with my wealth. The irony, he spent his entire career building redundant, fault-tolerant systems, but his personal wealth had zero diversification strategy. He'd unconsciously applied middle-class, buy and hold thinking to millionaire level wealth. Here's what separates middle-class thinking from wealthy thinking. First difference, asset allocation philosophy. Middle-class mindset says 60% stocks, 40% bonds, forever. Wealthy thinking says, what combination of assets will generate the income I need while preserving wealth? They're not just diversifying across similar assets. They're accessing entirely different asset categories and markets. I'm talking real estate, public stocks, private equity, etc. The second difference is tax strategy. Middle-class thinking celebrates a 10% stock return and ignores the 37% tax hit. Wealthy thinking asks, how do I generate 8% tax-free rather than 10% taxable? They use depreciation, capital losses, 1031 exchanges, entity structuring strategies that can literally save hundreds of thousands per year. And the third difference is time perspective. Middle-class thinking plans for retirement in 30 years. Wealthy thinking asks, how do I replace my income in 5 to 10 years? They're not building wealth to spend down. They're building wealth engines that generate income forever. The fourth difference is team building. Middle-class thinking tries to minimize fees and do everything themselves. Wealthy thinking invests in specialized expertise because they know a great tax strategist can save them 10x their fee, and a skilled real estate expert can generate returns that dwarf their fees. The fifth difference is legacy mindset. This is the big one. Middle-class thinking optimizes for personal retirement and spending down assets. Wealthy thinking builds evergreen systems designed to last multiple generations and never deplete the principal. So here's the thing that will change how you think about wealth. You can't build generational wealth using accumulation strategies designed for retirement consumption. And I see this pattern across every industry where people are creating first generation wealth. Take Mike, a successful doctor who built an $8 million net worth. 90% of his portfolio was in index funds because that's what everyone told him was smart investing. Now, 5 years later, he's frustrated because his wealth isn't working for him. It's just sitting there growing at market rates, and he still feels stuck working 60 hours a week. Meanwhile, another member of our community, Gaurav, has a $4 million portfolio with allocations aimed to generate income. He has 70% of his portfolio allocated to income generating investments, 25% in growth investments, and 5% in capital preservation investments in cash. He's not just growing wealth, he's generating $300,000 a year in annual income. Mike has more total net worth on paper, but Gaurav has financial freedom. The transition from middle class mindset to wealthy thinking happens in 3 phases. Phase 1 is you shift your mindset. Stop treating your millions like thousands, and instead of asking what's the cheapest way to invest, you start asking what's the most efficient way to turn this into income and legacy. Phase 2, learn the playbook. Learn how wealthy families actually structure money. This means understanding entity structures, tax optimization, and alternative investments. And phase 3 is build the systems, a micro-family office that makes your money work like a business. Look, if you have $1 to $30 million in net worth and want to fast track this process, head to wealthops.io or click the link below this video to watch a free training. I've set up a free training on how you can set up your own micro-family office in the next 90 days. I'll show you the mindset, the playbook, and systems in one value-packed masterclass. But if you want to know a little bit more about a micro-family office first, then you'll get a ton of value out of this video. Whatever you decide, I look forward to serving you in your wealth journey.